Was the late season collapse of 2023 because of the coordinators? You know, they lost Steichen, they lost Gannon, and they just didn't do a good job replacing them, and that was a one-off? Or was it something else? And can Sirianni right the ship? Can Sirianni get 2024 back to 2022 Eagles standards? Because that year is starting to seem more like an outlier. That's the question everyone has about the Eagles. I don't care who you are, was Jalen Hurts' performance in 2022 a one-hit wonder? Was last year a sign of things to come? Or was it just a bad second half of the season? And mostly, more so than Jalen Hurts and the offense, I'm worried about the defense. Ryan, please look at this graphic for me. Comparing their last 2 seasons on defense, so with Gannon in 2022 and then last year in 2023, points allowed, they were 8th and then to 29th in the league. Yards allowed, they were 3rd and then dropped to 26th. Pass yards allowed, best defense in the league, 31st defense in the league. Sacks, first most sacks in 2022, 20th in 2023. Interceptions, 5th in 2022, 26th in 2023. Almost every single defensive category not just went down from 22 to 23, it fucking plummeted. So I think that is the big question around the Eagles. I think Hurts can play solid. I don't know if he'll play how he did in 2022 because I think Shane Steichen is a genius and he got the most out of him. But can the defense get back to that level? Maybe they can't get back to top 5, but they have to get into top 10 in most of those categories if they want to be a legit contender against San Francisco and Detroit, in my opinion.
Does that affect you going into the season? If you're Jalen Hurts, are you starting to get the jitters? Are you starting to wonder if you're maybe a one-hit wonder or what?
I don't think Jalen Hurts is. I think he, believes in himself. I think he knows he's talented, and I believe in Jalen Hurts. But when you are talking
you should get
about
that on a shirt,
right? But when you're talking about that season when Shane Steichen was your coordinator, I think we've all seen now Shane Steichen is one of the most brilliant minds in football right now. So there's no way you're going to replicate that. I just think the offense needs to kind of reinvent itself. I think Jalen Hurts needs to find more confidence. And also, Ryan, the thing that we're kind of all tiptoeing around is health. Jalen Hurts was injured basically the whole second half of last year. I give him credit. He played through it. He's a tough football player, but that has to be something he's able to manage because if he's constantly dealing with injuries and they're running him as much as they are, I don't know how you have sustained success that way. So I hope they're able to find a way to manage that. We know that Howie Roseman's built a great team. We know they've drafted really well. I think the question is Nick Sirianni a great coach? We still don't know why they collapsed last year. We've heard a bunch of platitudes. We've heard guys talk about the energy and things being off. We don't know what happened inside that building. Obviously, most of those guys like Sirianni because a lot of them came to his defense when it looked like he could get fired. I think that's the question. Is he going to be the man for the Eagles or are they going to move on? Because their schedule isn't that tough. And in the NFC, they should easily win their division and they should easily, win a playoff game if they are able to get back to their, level of play they're accustomed to.
Yeah, their schedule this year, if you take their opponent's combined winning percentage from 2023, they have one of the easiest schedules on the books. But that doesn't mean anything to me. You can throw out these stats all day long, and it's great on paper, and sometimes I like to rely on them. But as far as preseason schedules go, when you're looking at it this early, you don't know what any of these teams are going to be. You don't know
what they did last year. Doesn't matter.
You don't know if the first 4 minutes somebody's going to tear an Achilles. You don't know what's going to happen, right?
Exactly.
So this is subject to change. But right now, what we have in front of us, it's an easier schedule than last year. Now, do you think that the Eagles have an equal shot at making the playoffs as they did last year?
Well, I think there's no question they're making the playoffs. Because last year they were great, then they collapsed and then just, got destroyed by Tampa at the first round of the playoffs. Yeah. I think they're going to be better than that. I think they're going to make the playoffs and be competitive, but I don't know if they're going to be a top contender in the NFC. It's still too early. Me and you don't do our official predictions until basically August, but I kind of don't know what to expect. What do you think? Are you feeling like just in your gut, are you thinking they're going to be able to return to form, or you think it's going to be somewhere in the middle, or how do you see it playing out? Because I don't have a strong feeling one way or another. I know that's not good for a sports show, but it's kind of wait and see.
Right, and I've teeter-tottered with this, right? I've gone back and forth. Typically, we're blasted for our opinions on here, so I'm going to give mine. I don't think that the Eagles have the same drive as they did in 2022. I feel like losing Steichen is a huge deal to Jalen Hurts. I feel like that was his comfort blanket, and I don't think he's played right since. Jalen Hurts, he has a lot of heart. He has a lot of drive. People like playing for him, and he'll put the game on his shoulders and go win it himself. However, you're not going to have the same components that you did back in 2022 and not even in 2023. So it's going to be interesting to see how Jalen navigates this season and see if he's maybe in the offseason stepped up a little bit to say, hey, I can be more than just a one-man show. I can disperse the ball more. I can rely less on the run. I think that kind of hurt him last year because a lot of teams learned how to shut him down on the run, and his legs weren't as effective as they had been in years past.
Well, and their offense, it was a little one-dimensional. So when you were able to shut the run down, they didn't have a lot of tools. I mean, they were
Exactly, that's my point.
Yeah, they were operating a college offense. And I think that's the big thing. I know we keep going back to it, but you mentioned it with Shane Steichen. I don't think Nick Sirianni is a great coach. And I know Eagles fans are going to come at me, but here's what I wonder. What does he do great? He doesn't call the plays. As a matter of fact, when he called the plays, it was a disaster. That's why they brought Shane Steichen in. And obviously, when Steichen left, we've seen a decrease. He doesn't call the defense. So then you say, oh, well, he's a leader. Okay, but when they fall apart like that last year, that doesn't look like a great leader. We've seen him be, outwardly, I don't know what the word is, tacky, or crass to fans and cussing fans out. And I'm sure Philadelphia fans like that mentality, but it kind of rubs me the wrong way. You can get away with it when the results are good, and I give him credit for that Super Bowl run, but they have to right the ship this year, or I think he's going to be gone, because whether it's fair or not, Philadelphia doesn't put up with coaches. They fired Andy Reid, for God's sakes.